Julie. I'm here with Lucy, the English Bulldog, and right now we're about to do a session working on her auto responses to triggers in the past that would set her off. Her owner has done a wonderful job teaching commands. She knows place, she knows down. However, when a trigger would present itself, it was all over. Triggers could be a cart that was rolling by as she's on place. It could be any sort of power tool. She will launch herself off and try to attack it. She's tried to bite at a moving circular saw. She has tried to attack drumsticks that a drummer was holding when she was in the same room. Basically, she just is so on edge that a trigger presents itself and without thinking, she just launches and reacts. So we are really working on impulse control, thinking before acting, desensitizing her to all of these things so that she's not so nervy and jumpy, and she'll have a response that's more thought out and patient and without just like a knee-jerk reaction. So let's see how she does. We have her on place in a downstay, and we've got a lot of power tools. We have a rolling cart. We have Josh's Theragun, which is very loud and scary. Let's see what happens.
So we talk about judgment a lot. Judgment is just the dog being able to see something in their environment and react appropriately according to me and the other humans that they live with. So, for example, if somebody were to knock on the door and it's somebody that you know and you let them in and the dog's going AWOL barking, that's bad judgment because that's somebody who you're familiar with, it's a family member. The dog doesn't need to be barking like that and going crazy. Another form of bad judgment is this thing right here, it's going straight. You and I both know if that goes straight, it's not going to hit her. She doesn't necessarily know that because she's never really had the chance. If she sees something coming her way, it's let's go in the other direction. And then therefore the dog thinks that they saved themselves by being quick to move. What place allows us to do is to say, don't move, watch. It doesn't touch you. Get better judgment by getting experience. Watch this. That is because if you go rewatch this video, the first one she went, whoa, and I said, no, down. And then I did it again, and she watched it go past. If it's going straight right here, it's not gonna hit her. And so she needs to learn to be able to read, right? So somebody's walking by with a car, and it's loud and noisy, but it's going that way, then that's not going to touch you. So it's getting her to stop, like Julie said, and think rather than just hearing noise and going, whoa, and then maybe even attacking it, because dogs, when they startle like this, if they're living on edge, they startle into fight or flight. And if she's going to choose flight, she's going to head away from it. She's going to choose fight, she's going to move towards it. All right? Both not ideal. What's ideal is just kind of watching. Okay?
Do you see fight a little bit more in bully breeds?
Oh yeah, definitely, because bully breeds are genetically modified by humans to choose fight over flight because, we wanted them to fight, whether it was fighting other dogs or fighting bulls, right? Hence the name, Bulldog. We wanted them to be game. We wanted them to have so much gameness in them that they would choose fight over flight if they were to trigger into that response, and they would continue to fight and not concern themselves with pain or damage. So yeah, absolutely. But what's cool about it is we can make a large amount of progress just by doing some behavior modification. We can kind of shift the way the dog thinks about things, and that will then make a large impact on the way that they respond to the world around them. Okay? Now, I don't actually want to stay here, so make sure the wheels are going. I'm doing that on purpose, loud noise there. Good girl. Good girl. Nice work. Good job. Nice. Okay. Another one to do. And we have to wait until she's kind of taking a nap one of these days. She's taking a nap and all of a sudden, right next to her. And see what she does. If she immediately kind of comes out of that nap and comes over with her teeth to that, to whatever the trigger is, then I'll be there to say, nope, incorrect. And then she'll look at me and say, oh, didn't see you there. And then she'll relax and we'll wait. Maybe it might have to be another day until we can get her to be sleeping again and do it again until we can see that she startles but then thinks, because we've brought attention to that behavior. And the only way to really bring attention to it is to correct it so that she knows that it's on her radar to avoid that behavior, okay? And we'll see how far it goes. Some dogs clean up like this with this stuff. Some dogs are gonna take time. So we'll have to see with her. Right now, as long as she's conscious and focused and with us, she's not messing with any of this stuff. So whatever portion of it was like just her feeling like on edge while she's awake and while she's focused and while she's going throughout her day, that part is pretty much cleaned up just using our philosophies of living with a dog. The startle and flinch response of a sleeping dog, that's what I'm curious to get into. So I gotta catch her sleeping. But while she's awake,
She has a history of running from the vacuum.
and that's again, the place command gives us an opportunity to have a clear conversation. A lot of dogs are nervous of the vacuum, and that's why they flee from it or even attack it. Some dogs will attack it because they're nervous of it, Once they allow it to hang around long enough while it's on, and they get to kind of see it, because we're kind of forcing them to see it. We're saying, don't get off that bed, which means they can't run away from it and think that they escaped from something big and evil, and they can't go and attack it, which makes them feel like they're striking first, so they're in the safe zone. It's like, I'll get you before you get me. If they just have to sit there and watch it, and what ends up happening after the minute's gone, it's like, oh, it's not a threat. It actually isn't doing anything to me, it's just a noise. So you desensitize them to it. I don't know how she's gonna respond. Sometimes we turn this thing on and the dog literally tries to attack it. So we don't know. I don't know. Let's see. I'm imagining, because of her state of mind, I would be very surprised if she went into that frame of mind, but I wouldn't be surprised if she tries to bolt off the bed as I get close with it. Let's do it with the noise off first. No. Down. Okay. So the first time I asked her to down, she didn't. I clicked at an 8. It's an 8 on the e-collar here. And then she went down. That's why, so we use the tools we use so we can hold them accountable. Okay? Good girl. That just gives me an opportunity for her to see this more passively. Good girl. Good girl. Big old scary thing. Now you know it. Good girl. She's concerned about it. Good job. But watch how I can kind of override that with my relationship. You know what I mean? Good girl. Nice job. Did you do a good girl? Yeah, you did. Good girl. Okay, so you see that response? That's pretty much the issue. jumpiness. She's actually watching it happen. She's watching it hit. So if you know anything about being alive on this planet as long as you've been alive, if you're watching something happen, you're a lot less likely to flinch, rather than if it like happened behind you. You know, she's actually watching this happen and still flinching a little bit. So it tells me that, wow, she was sleeping. Yeah, I could see it. I could see exactly what the owner was saying. I can imagine. And this is a vacuum that's off. And she's watching it go, right? And so this response here could go. This is where, oh no, she's afraid. Never do it again. But the answer is do it 100 times, and she's gonna then say, oh, that's not a big deal. So watch. Startle. Startle. No. It's not allowed to leave. That's where the training comes in. Go ahead. No. Grow. If you don't think that's bad, it is. That's pretty bad. Nervy wise. I'm not saying that her behavior is bad right now, but it's pretty bad. So the biggest tool that we have here, other than the training to hold her on that bed, is time. Time is a tool. Watch. Are you guys watching her? Look at the jumps become less and less. Now I'm making this easy because I'm doing it pretty much on the same beat. Right? It's not spontaneous. It's like boom, boom, boom. That makes it easy, right? This is easy, and that took, I would say we're close to 30 bumps on the bed before she starts to relax of the same exact trigger, that's bad. A lot of dogs, you know, balanced dogs, they'll see something like this. No. Down. Okay, click the knee collar. They'll see something like this. You might start them a couple times, and then they'll be like, oh, you know, I see what's happening. Because it took her, if the average dog, let's say, if I could make a guess, 5 times, right? Good. And it took her 30, then that should give you an idea of how bad it can actually get. Good girl. Okay, so let's go back to what I just said, because now the response is better. Something scary happened. Okay? Use your imagination. It could be anything. The instinct, the motherly instinct, I think, and the nurturing side is never let that happen to them again. Let's protect them. But what you end up doing is sheltering a dog and never allowing them to grow and learn how to cope with the scary world. We actually live in a pretty scary place. And if you can't toughen up to a degree, you're gonna get ate alive. So, when I'm raising a dog, or my philosophy with dogs is, you know, if you're scared of something, and I know it's not gonna hurt you, because we're living in a human's world, and I'm a human, I understand it. Let me show you that it's not gonna hurt you. Okay? And if you do this from a dog as a puppy, and you see those little moments where they're nervous at something, and you keep presenting it until they're no longer nervous, and then you move on, and then you might find another one a week later. By the time the dog's an adult, they're confident, believe it or not, and they're experienced and they're mature. If you shelter them and you keep them in one room their whole life, and they don't know anything about the world, and then one day you put them in the downtown New York City, the dog's gonna freaking go nuts. It's gonna be shaking. It's what is going on. So we're dealing with a dog who maybe has a little genetical stuff pushing her towards these behaviors, but more than likely it's just an inexperienced dog living on edge, who's out of balance. You know, and this type of work is gonna make huge progress on her behavior. Not even just her behavior listening to her owner, that's a given. But her behavior as an animal on her own and her response to the world around her will be better. And all I'm doing is bing. Okay? It's better. And we're a couple minutes in, and it's already went from to. But because this is still happening, it's pretty bad. Pretty bad. know what you're thinking. You might be thinking, well, I'd be flinching. No, you wouldn't. This many reps, if you would not be flinching anymore. You'd just be like, I need to turn around and take a nap. Yeah, I mean, we got to be going. If somebody's counting these, this has got to be close to 50, 40.
When we've done it on different dogs, and we don't have this reaction.
Not for this long. There has been dogs that has done this long. Now, some of the other bullies that we had in here actually. There was a Frenchie that we had in. That's good.
Hamish.
Do you see that right there? Yes? I barely touched. She lifted her head up and did one of these. This is bad news bears. This is a little tiny ding, ding. Now imagine. She's gonna tear across the room and fucking try to bite it. When I'm saying the importance of how important it is to start working on it like this, look at that, it's better. She's starting to self-regulate. And it's because I'm holding her accountable. If she starts to get up or starts to posture or make some type of movement towards it or tries to get off from the place bed, we'll correct and put her back in the down so that we can make sure that she gets a chance to experience these things. Okay? So we're seeing improvements with that. But for me, just doing this little exercise here, this isn't a dog that's gonna be a quick fix. This is gonna be a dog that's gonna need every minute of the 3 weeks working on this kind of stuff. So, and I'm okay if there's a startle response, but as long as she catches herself and relaxes, rather than, for example, if the noise happens and she goes and then settles down, that's normal. Okay? If a noise happens and she goes, no, not good. All right? Literally across the room to attack something. And when this happens, we knew we had a set of dogs that lived together, and they were living in the same frame of mind. They're bullies too. And the fridge would kick on. Ding, you know? The fridge kicks on. They're sleeping. One of them like does what she does and just kind of goes into that state, nips the dog next to it, and now we have 3 dogs fighting. Right? So, yeah. Reprogramming is very important. There you go. Program. So this is, I'm not very concerned about this now because I can see in her mind, she reacted to it, but she's holding herself together. She's not even looking at it. So this is good. This is good. It's heading in the right direction. But I just wanted to show you guys, come on. It's no joke, this stuff. Now, she has to down, and she can't get off the bed. Okay? definitely out of nervousness. From if I could make a judgment call just from what I've seen today, she's very nervous of it. So that's probably why she's snapping into this. Plus, she got a bit of a guard mentality going on back at home. So you put this reflex in with her mentality of protecting the house, and that's what you get. Startling out of sleep, going and trying to bite somebody that she knows, and then snapping out of it and realizing who it is and saying, "Oh, what happened?" Okay. This isn't the first time we've seen this. Isn't the first time we've seen this in a bulldog either. Okay?
It's not the worst either, Casey.
It's not the worst either. Absolutely not the worst, by the way. Just so you know, there's been dogs that we've had. We turn this thing on and it is just ripping at it with her teeth. Okay, this isn't that bad, but I still want to make sure her response is cleaned up and that she can trust in us to just do as we ask and not move even when times get scary. So this is good work to do with your dog if they're very nervy dogs. You teach place, you teach down, you hold them accountable with a collar, and then you start presenting things that are scary until the days go on, it's not scary anymore, Good girl. It's a good girl. What I'm gonna do is let her chill for a little while, let her get comfortable, and then come turn it back on. I know it's a lot of work, but that's what you gotta do. And as the days go on, you see a big difference. I mean, you'll get to the point where you'll turn this thing on and she'll just be like, yeah, whatever. Keep her head down, Look at this guy, he doesn't care. Right? I could come over here and start, taking them back into his bed and he would just be like, what are you doing? Right? Because he's been around the block though. He's been out in the world. He's been on the streets. He's been in the woods. He's been to people's houses. He's been out of the state and up, all over the freaking place. This guy's an experienced adult dog at this point. So he's not going to be terribly concerned about that, right? There's dogs that they would lose their mind that I just did that, so, and it's caused from inexperienced and sometimes bad genetics, but this girl's pretty good temperament here. She has a very nice head on her shoulders. She thinks pretty clearly. She does trigger into these states here and there, but I think it's preventable. So let's continue with the work and see how much progress we can make, but I'm very excited